Hey, my darlings. Been doing a few little short messages here tonight. I wanted to try to cover the trials of marriage, okay? Because there is no such thing as a perfect marriage. You guys are soulmates and best friends, and you never have disagreements or arguments or hurt feelings or resentments or anything like that. And you never face any challenges that you can't overcome together and all that kind of stuff. So the reality is that there are different phases to marriage. And I think it's Real Femme Sapien, and Rebecca was on there, and some other women that I don't know, but I did share the live stream, and it's like 50 plus years of marriage. The women were talking. They did a good job. I was very proud of them. So, that's something that they touched on, especially the older gal there, that there are different seasons, and the romance does come back around. You've just had a baby, and it takes time, and all those different types of things, even when you get older, and your kids are leaving the nest, and there's all these different adjustments. So first things first, if this is your parents that you're thinking of, okay, you got to stay in a child's place, even if you're an adult, and respect both your parents, because you're not in their marriage. You're not in their relationship. And if they've been together for a long time, they have a way. All right. So, sometimes parents complain and, they get fussy, especially if they retire. All of a sudden they're together all the time and things like that. That's understandable. But again, there's different phases. People adjust. And the main thing is that if they don't give up on each other, they can make it. So, when you first get married, you're getting used to, I'm assuming you haven't lived together yet, but, the relationship between a man and wife changes from boyfriend to girlfriend, being engaged. It's not the same. It should elevate to a new level. So there's an adjustment period there where, he may not have been as outspoken about certain things when you guys were just dating, when you're just boyfriend and girlfriend, but now he's like, okay, I'm the head and this is how I want it. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I didn't know you felt that way. So that happens. There's like an adjustment period. All of a sudden he may say, I don't want you to go to those places. I don't want you to go hang out with your girlfriends. I want dinner at 6:00, whatever. Some of those, the duty and responsibility kicks in, and for some people they kind of go, oh, this isn't what I signed up for, but it is, because that's what marriage actually is. Women are so obsessed with the wedding day, and it's like it's all about being a bride, when really they plan more for their wedding day than they do the marriage that they're going to spend the rest of their lives in, hopefully. So being prepared for the day-to-day tasks, getting your mind wrapped around what your actual purpose is, which is to serve your husband. So the more that the woman is adjusted and coming in with a good mindset, the easier it makes the transition. But there's always still a transition when you first are married. Okay. Then you have to transition to pregnancy, and after the baby's born, and keeping the intimacy going. And some of the women, there was a couple questions about, what if you're sex averse? You have bad feelings about sex, or, maybe you were taught that sex is wrong, or that, super religious people that were like, it's only for procreation, or, all this kind of stuff. Listen, you better talk to your man before y'all get married, and how important sex is to him is how important it needs to be to you. Okay. If you need therapy, get therapy, especially before you're married. If you've been traumatized, get therapy before you get married. Okay. If you're already married and you've got things that have come up, you're going to have to deal with it, but sex starts in the mind. All right. So how you vision your husband and your relationship is crucial. That makes all the difference of whether or not your body's going to follow what your mind is saying. Okay, women, why do you think stories and movies and books and things have always been like the fantasy thing for us, right? Like we like the written word, we like our imaginations, we want to, picture these things and whatnot. All right. That's because for us, it starts in our mind. Honestly, I think for guys, it starts in their eyes and it goes right down there. So anyway, but it is very, very important that we're thinking about it the right way. So one of the things I heard, Barbara Rainey from Family Life Today, I love them. I used to watch them for years. It's all good. I learned a lot from them. But they had and probably still have a program called Family Life Today, and it's on the radio. But anywho, she would say that, keeping daydreams, or, reading a sexy book, whatever, something, maybe a movie or something that keeps your mind on sex, and kind of you prepare yourself throughout the day, like, tonight I'm going to put it down on my man, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to be ready for him, So because throughout the day, we're so busy being moms, we're so busy being wives, just as far as the daily stuff that needs to get done, that sex can be like way back there. And you don't want that to happen. So you have to do your best to keep those thoughts in your mind. Think about something that you find very sexy about your husband. That's easy for me. I got his picture on my lock screen. I just look at him like, that's my man right there. And different things that turn you on, whatever. You turn yourself on by the things that you're thinking, okay? And keep that on your mind until your man gets home, and then let it all out on him, all right? So sex is a really important part. And one of the things that happens in relationships where the woman's the breadwinner, they start to resent their husband, and then sex is like, they don't want to have sex with them. Well, that's bad for the man, because he still needs that, literally still needs that connection and release and all that stuff. And now, you're straining the relationship even more. And then a lot of women are shocked their husband puts it in somewhere else and comes back home. I'm just saying, these are the realities of life. I was telling one of the gals this the other day, but a friend of mine, I asked her, well, what is it about your husband that attracted you to him in the first place? Like, why'd you marry him? And she said, well, I married him because he was kind. And I said, okay, is he still kind? And she said, yeah. I said, okay. That, you can't expect him to be something that you never married him for, that he's not, I know a lot of women want them to be more ambitious and this and that, but you can't change your man. That's like the number one rule of Fascinating Womanhood book, okay, is that you accept a man at face value, and you just appreciate whatever he has. And the more you appreciate him for who he is and what he has, the more that he becomes even more. You always believe the best in him, like, you're capable of this, and I know you can do that, but you don't put that, because it comes with the spirit of disappointment, that, oh, you're not meeting my expectations, and that just kills it. That's one of the worst things ever for a man, is that he feels that he's disappointed you in some way, that he's not living up to your expectations. That's really, really, really not good. Not a good formula. So it's really important that even after you have a baby, technically you should wait the amount of time that you're supposed to wait. I still threw some sloppies in there in the meantime, but for the most part, it was okay that he knew I had to heal, all right? And there was a couple times that I couldn't wait, and I didn't wait, and that was not good, because it was not good. It was painful. So I was like, all right, yep, just wait and be patient. So follow the doctor's orders for that. It's still a short period of time. And just realize that he's probably going to need to masturbate during that time, whatever. But as soon as possible, you get back together, you come back together. And remember, I had 2 babies back to back, and then another 2 babies back to back. So it was like, with a few years in between, and it was like, put the babies on the couch, sippy cups, Blue's Clues cartoons way back in the day, or Looney Tunes or whatever it was that we were watching. Keep them occupied. When Daddy comes home, boom, in the bedroom, and they were fine. And we're right there in the next room, and just, let's go, baby, and that was one of the most important things that I think I did as a wife, that helped him just feel like, okay, at least, even though she's tied up with the kids all the time, she's making sure I get some, and she's feeding me, okay? Most important things, right? Tummy full, balls empty. So, he didn't mind so much if there's toys on the floor and things like that. He wasn't so picky about that, because the man got a lot of sex. He didn't care if he got a peanut butter jelly sandwich. He was just like, give me some. So, That is very, very, very important. And it's one of the things, those chemicals are released and it keeps you bonded together. You can be mad at them and you make love and you just feel different. You feel better. You're like, oh, I do love you. And the same for him most of the time. So when women drift too long and they feel like this coldness or isolation, or like, maybe he's upset about something or whatever, he's got the wall up, he's in his cave, however you want to put it, women will often turn off the sex, and that's like the worst. So if he's upset, whatever's going on, still give it to him. Trust me, he'll work out whatever he's working out in his mind, and everything will be so much better. Withholding sex is one of the worst things you could possibly do. That's all I have to say about that. Let's see. Then you've got just kids being busy, sports. We were running around to like 4 different teams, baseball and all this kind of stuff. And it was a lot, but God gives you the strength. Somehow you just do it, you get it done, and you enjoy it, even though you're exhausted, and you still just roll over. Here you go, honey, whatever it is. Sometimes it's just like that. But, keeping, those top priorities done. And of course, I'm a stay-at-home mom. So I tried to take a nap when I could. I tried to rest when I could, to have the extra energy for my husband, because that was very important to both of us. Didn't complain about him going to the gym like every day, didn't complain about him working and missing ceremonies because he's working. He did not get to go. I went to like everything, every class party, field trip, award ceremony, talent show, chorus. I was so blessed to be able to go to all those things. He did make most of the sporting things, so I'm very grateful for that. He enjoys sports very much. So it was like, and those are after school too. So that's the difference. It was during school when he was working the other things. So anywho, but sometimes I'd be like, oh, I wish he could be here. And then I was like, girl, you are so lucky that you get to be here. Because there were other kids who were looking for their parents. They're looking for their mom, and they weren't there, So, and because I volunteered as well, I became kind of like a little mother duck to some of the other kids, and I'd give them hugs. And, now I don't know what you can do anymore at this point with kids in school. You'd be like, don't touch the kids. But, I'd been there so long, and I'm still friends with some of the kids that were in my oldest son's first grade class. It's wild. So anywho, it's a beautiful thing. But so through all that, you just keep trucking and you just keep making it. And then they're teenagers, and then it's like, whew, that's a whole nother round of, wow, okay, all right, are they home yet? And luckily, thank you God, they feared daddy, they loved daddy, but they respected daddy, and they did not really break the rules. There was like a couple small little things. Maybe somebody came home late, or, my son fell in love with this girl and he snuck out a couple times. So it was like, ooh, that was like the worst thing that happened, right? So we're like, okay, thank you God. No alcohol, no smoking, no drugs. They were very good kids. So we were just tired just from life. But, homework and dinner and, just all that kind of stuff. But he also made sure the kids helped me. So they had certain chores they had to do, and that was very good for them. Certain days we'd have them go over to visit grandma over the summer. They'd have a pizza night over there, and then me and daddy would just have the house to ourselves. And I was so excited. I was like, let's go, babe. But the kids knew. I mean, even when my family would come visit, because they lived in other states, they knew that I put daddy to bed at night, so I took the time, and went in there and gave daddy his love-ins, and they just sat out there and watched TV till I was done. I took a shower, come out, I'm like, okay, now I can hang out for a few hours, so it was just, I was like, we were very open without being totally in their face, but I was just like, I'm not playing, I'm taking care of my man, I'll come out and spend time with you guys after that. So, and I love my family. They're great. They always loved it, and they were understanding, they're like, all right, do your thing. So let's see. And then as the kids got older, now we've got kids moving out of the house and things like that. And they don't need me quite as much, but they still need me. So, and I stay busy because I cook a lot. And then we've got the 3 dogs and the rabbits and now a hamster and a leopard gecko lizard and all these kind of things. So life just keeps going, and I still have a lot to do with the younger 2, their doctor's appointments, dentist, and all those kind of things. All of those things are part of managing a household, and it just keeps you busy, and of course I do my husband's stuff, like an assistant, make appointments for him, answer emails for him, all these different types of things. I do that for him. So one thing that I've learned the best is to be very, very adaptable and flexible to my husband's schedule, because he's changed shift numerous times. Sometimes like he works 16 hours. So, it could be all day, could be all night, could be part of a day and a night, I never know. So I work around his schedule. Of course, that's the blessing of being a stay-at-home wife. I have that luxury and ability. I don't have to work and adjust to his schedule. But for the working women, God bless. I don't know what to say if you're kind of stuck there. You could let your husband know you'd like to, come home and serve him. And you might have to do it in baby steps. You might have to downgrade some stuff, so you just have to work with what you guys have going on. But serving your husband, no matter what, whether you make more money than him or not, he is still the man. He's the protector. Okay. I don't care if he's not making more money than you. A lot of times these days, women are just getting promoted. Sorry, you've got affirmative action, diversity hires. I know men that are in the forestry, fire division, forestry rangers. Anyway, and been there 20 something years, 15 years, and bring in a woman who is just brand new and give that woman the supervisor position because she's a woman, because it looks good on their quotas. I mean, stuff like that is just got to be infuriating the men beyond all, whatever. So part of the thing that I think is that women are making more because companies are so gung-ho about trying to get a lot of women into positions where they're making more money. So, it is what it is. And at the same time, they complain about a wage gap. But anywho, so the man is still the man. He's still the protector, and brings that masculine energy, which is irreplaceable. I've mentioned on other videos that probably got deleted. I've spoken to many of my friends who've been married for a number of years, and they were at the point of feeling like, I think I want to go do something else. I'm not happy. You know what I mean? And I was just like, listen, there is nothing out here in these streets for an older woman. There's just not. Just from the experience of trying to interview chicks for a second wife and that whole thing. First of all, as a woman, I didn't want anyone older than 32. Okay. I didn't. And the only reason I even went that old is because it wasn't necessary to have more kids unless he wanted to, which I asked him and he said no. So, there's no way that I would say, hey, bring in another 40, 42, 45, 50-year-old woman into our house. I'd be like, no, one is enough. The whole purpose, if you're even going to bother to have another woman in your house, is to bring some life and energy and youth and, exuberance and all that kind of stuff, and of course, fertility. But just why would you want an older woman who has so much baggage, so independent, so set in her ways? And if she's been with a man most of her life, she's set to that man. It's going to be very difficult for her, not impossible, but very difficult to be rewired to a new man, okay? It just really is, and it usually doesn't work out most of the time. They get slept with and left. I'm just saying, and it's just not worth it. If you have a decent man, make it work. Figure it out. Go take some vacays together. Bring back the spice of life. I don't know, but you're better off with a man that that you trust than somebody off of Tinder, for God's sake. I'm just saying. So, as far as being the empty nester, I'm not an empty nester yet, so I can't say, but I can assume and believe with a lot of full confidence that the same principles are going to apply, that you stay flexible to what it is he wants to do, try to do things he enjoys doing. I'll go to the gym with him if he lets me go with him. If he wants to go fishing, I'll go fishing with him, which I think is the fish and the hooks and the worms. But I'll go and I'll do my best. But, yeah. So bowling, I'll go bowling. You want to go to the movies, you want to go to the beach. You want to go kayaking. I am terrified, but I'll go. He wanted to do the helicopter ride. We did that, and I overcome a huge fear with that. So it's just, you got to be open to doing things that he wants to do. And you might say, well, what if I want to go to the museum, or I want to do this, and I want to go to the ballet, and he doesn't want to go? Well, sometimes he might go with you to be nice, but those are kind of things that you could do with your girlfriends or your children or your daughter or something like that, It's just the way it is. Just trust me, okay? It just makes life so much easier. We've definitely done quite a few concerts together ever since we're young to up to a few years ago. Benesse, if I'm saying it right, he plays the guitar with the long hair. And the dancers are so amazing. Oh my goodness gracious. Woo! That was a hot concert. So anywho, we had so much fun doing that. Just things that make you feel alive. It's important. Going for walks, whatever it is that he wants to do that. And as far as menopause, I don't know about that yet. I'm still have a regular cycle. We'll see how that goes. Just saying. But I've talked to women who are past that point, and they're fine. They're happy. I don't know if the majority of them have done hormone therapy or what the deal is with that part, but I will definitely do whatever I got to do to be good, because the love-ins in our life is absolutely wonderful, beautiful, and critical to continue. And I really do believe a lot has to do with your mind, but we'll see how that goes. And I'll certainly let you guys know as it goes along. But again, the main thing is that through all these different trials and changes, that you're understanding of each other, that you especially are very understanding, and flexible, and continue with the purpose and the goal of making it work. That I'm going to make this work, make it the best that it can be, no matter what. And that's very important, until even your older years. And I've had the experience of nursing my husband back to health from my goodness, so many times. He's almost died. It's unbelievable. Learning to walk again. You guys have seen pictures of him. He's a beast, and it was really something to see him go from that to nothing, to build it all back up again. I mean, he's just an incredible man. So, but to take care of someone that you love is a blessing, a duty, an honor, a privilege, and it's difficult. It's hard. And it's emotional. So I can't imagine in the later years when you're facing the last, years or last days, what that feels like. I've prayed with several elder relatives, an elder friend of mine that passed away, before they passed. And it's to see the pain and the suffering. You don't want to go through that alone. I mean, we just don't think about it, but it's there. It's a reality, and it's something that you don't want to be alone. You want someone who's going to care for you. These people that are left alone in the hospitals with nothing but the nurses to care for them, oh man, that is something you don't want to happen to you. I'm just saying, you really don't. It's very sad and painful, and I just can't even imagine. So anywho, but if you have someone, just understand there's going to be different seasons. And I have to say, even for example, the fact that my husband's had female friends, talk to other women, and he's a fine man, I'm telling you what. Enjoyed their attention and all these kind of things. For a long time, because I was so busy with the kids, I never even paid attention. It didn't even cross my mind until that whole day where I looked at the phone. I was like, oh, hi. you're talking to somebody from high school as our friend, and blah blah blah, and and it was just nonsense. And I've told you guys I became friends with that girl, like actual friends with her. And she's with a man, and she's got an older son and a younger daughter, and she's not going anywhere. And they were just kind of trash talking, and we ended up being great friends. I found out she was very depressed and very lonely, and it just stuff like that happens, so I'm very lucky that was the situation that I had to deal with, that it wasn't what I initially thought, which was like, there's a full-fledged thing going on that I don't know about, but that does happen to women. And what I would say about a woman that found out her husband had an affair, or slept with someone, or had a one-night stand, or a guy's weekend, or something happened, the honest truth is that you're not going to like it. There's a part of a man, and I'm not a man, but I'm just explaining it to the best of my ability, okay? To feel like a man, each man has his own compass of what's going on and what makes him feel like a man. Situations may occur where a couple times something like that has happened. If he is willing to stay with you, and he wants to stay with you, and he's like, oh, I messed up, that shouldn't have happened, blah blah blah, and there's like a remorse or repentance or whatever, okay, I 1,000% say keep it going. Forgive your husband, all right, and keep moving. Where I would say that there's a problem is if you're with someone that is literally, like, on a daily basis trying to bang anything in a skirt, that flaunts it in front of you, that talks to you in a condescending way about it, makes fun of you, calls you all kinds of names. Usually all these things are wrapped together, that just has zero care for how you feel, whether they end up getting somebody pregnant and all those kind of things. That's not good. That's not a healthy relationship. All I'm saying is that a healthy man, especially if you're talking about being married for 50, 60, or 70 years, they cannot help the fact that they're wired to be attracted to beautiful women. I saw a little clip of an 84-year-old man. I don't know if his son or his grandson was driving him, but it goes, whoa, look at that booty. And he goes, what? I'm looking at the road. He goes, oh, is that booty walking by, so. And I heard another man at church, he's like 88, and they were like, brother so-and-so, how did you conquer lust? And he's like, oh, lust don't leave you. You just get better at hiding it, And I was like, dang. So it is just in their nature to be drawn, okay? So all you can do as a wife, what Mr. Samuel has always said, your job is to keep him. If he keeps coming home, and there's nothing blatantly obvious in your face, and he goes out with the guys sometimes, or goes on a guy's trip or whatever, just, if he's loving you, he's taking care of you, just stay out of his business, stay out of his phone, stay out of all that stuff, and I've been there a million times where I feel insecure, and I'm like, honey, am I the only one, or do you need something else, or blah blah blah, it's just in our nature to do that, because we don't want to lose our guy, But the thing is that I found is that most guys are actually more faithful than women. They won't leave. They're not leaving. And our society has made it that it's wrong for a man to have anything else, changing the nature of what a man is. So, my husband has said that what you agreed upon when you get married, you should stick to your vows. I appreciate that. And at the same time, I was like, well, honey, when we were growing up, we didn't think that was even an option. It wasn't something you said out loud, or put out in public, or put it, it's something you kept on the DL, you know what I mean? Like between the men, man code and all that stuff. But all I'm saying is, if your husband messed up a couple times, if you want to call it messing up or stepping out or needing something different, but loves his family, wants to be with his family, you would be a fool to wreck your home, to ruin your marriage over that, which was probably literally just sex and it was over, you know. There are people that their husband had a full-on affair for years. And again, if he messed up, he doesn't want to be with her, he wants to keep his family, you gotta let him try, especially if you're a believer. That is our duty. That's our responsibility. Jesus said to his disciple, he said, how many times should I forgive, Lord? 7 times? He said, no, 77 times 7, 7 times 77 or something like that. You know, it was a lot, basically. And if we're supposed to forgive our brothers and sisters in Christ like that, then why can't we forgive our spouse and be understanding? Especially if they're showing you they want to be home, they want to be with their children. It's very difficult, but this is true. So as long as they're not mistreating you, actually abusing you, you know, you fear for your life and all these kind of things. They don't have severe drug and alcohol problems. And again, they're not at the grocery store with you, flirting with the chick on, you know, cash register 4 or something, trying to get her number while he's with you. I mean, these things happen. So, you know, if you don't have a guy like that and he's decent and he just needs to go blow off some steam, hang out with the guys, whatever, stay out of his business, let him do his thing. He'll come home and he's going to love you like crazy. Okay. I'm just telling you. It's just kind of a fact of life that has ruined so many marriages. And we want to blame the men, but we've never stopped to think about the fact that men have been the same since the beginning. And it was Western society that, you know, actually changed the scriptures. Adultery is having sex with a married woman. Doesn't say anything about the man, okay, being married or not. That's just what it is. So anyhow, that's just important for me to say, because again, so many women that I've heard have said they left their marriages because their husband was unfaithful or cheated or stepped out or whatever, or they thought that he did. Okay, that's even worse. So, you know, we got to compete and we got to keep our guy. We got to keep our man and give him no reason to be actually going out and trying to get some because he's too tired from getting it from you. Okay. That's always been my goal. I'm like, you want it 5 times today? Let's go, Daddy. I mean, we've got some great records. I've told Daddy we could go in the Guinness Book of World Records for how much we've made love. When he's on vacation, oh dear Lord. Whew. Those kids just know. They're like, don't even walk by Mom and Dad's door. I said, good. I told my husband, I said, at least our kids know how 2 people are supposed to love each other. Passionately and dedicated and, you know, just sacrificially as well. He sacrifices for me and I absolutely sacrifice for him. So that'll be the next video, is what my husband does for me. So anyway, God bless you all. If you're married, you know, make it happen, make it work till death do you part. Love is not a feeling, it is a decision. Okay, folks, that's the truth. So good luck. God bless. If you're not married yet, do premarital counseling. Talk about every hard thing. Try to get the stars out of your eyes for a hot minute to face the reality of some things. Don't marry people that you are unequally yoked with, or you will regret it. Okay, especially if you're a woman, because 1 Peter chapter 3 is going to be your scripture for the rest of your life. Try to win your unbelieving husband. All right, anyway, ciao. Love you guys.